animal life.
We see different kinds of animals all over the world. Different animals show different characters. Let us study more about animals in this chapter. Eating habits of animals. Herbivores. Animals that eat plants are called herbivores. Examples of herbivorous animals. Some examples of herbivorous animals are cow, deer, and goat. Carnivores. Flesh-eating animals are called carnivores. Examples of carnivorous animals. Examples of carnivorous animals are lion and cheetah. Omnivores. Animals that eat both plants and animals are called omnivores. Examples of omnivorous animals. Some wild animals like the bear and crow eat both plants and animals. Such animals are called omnivores. Body parts of animals. Have you noticed a cow? Does it have 2 legs like us? No, a cow has 4 legs and it walks on 4 legs. Many other animals like dogs, cats and tigers also walk on 4 legs. Their feet are called paws. They do not have any hands. The cow also has a pair of horns to protect itself from enemies. Other animals like horse and camel do not have fingers. They have hard hooves which help them to walk on rough ground without getting hurt. Do we human beings have tails? No, but animals have tails. Tigers, monkeys, and elephants have tails which help them in driving away flies and insects from their body. Elephants have a long trunk also. It works as a hand. Special feeding habits. Butterfly has a long, hollow sucking tube. It uses this like a straw to suck nectar from flowers. Teeth of animals. Plant-eating animals have sharp and broad front teeth to cut grass, leaves and branches. They have flat back teeth which help them to chew. Grass-eating animals swallow their food without chewing it. When they rest, they bring this food back into their mouth and then chew it well with their grinding teeth. This is called chewing the cud. Animals like squirrels and rabbits have sharp front teeth to break and bite the seeds and fruits. Flesh-eating animals like lions and tigers have sharp, pointed and slightly curved teeth. They also have grinding teeth at the back of their mouth. Animals like lizard and frogs swallow their food whole. They have long and sticky tongue. Whenever they see an insect, they shoot out their tongue, and the insect gets stuck to it. They swallow the insect quickly. Care of domestic animals. We should give food and water in clean vessels for our domestic animals. Their shelter should be cleaned regularly. Sick animals should be properly looked after. Care of the young. Parent birds work very hard to feed their young ones. The parents protect their babies. They protect their babies from enemies like crows, cats, and snakes who might eat them up. Birds and their nest. Birds choose their nesting place with great care, safe from enemies and bad weather. They use cotton, thread, twigs, dry leaves, hair, stones, and pebbles to make their nest. Weaver bird. A weaver bird weaves dry grass and twigs to make a beautiful nest. The bird enters its home through a tunnel-like tube which hangs below the nest. Tailor bird. The tailor bird stitches two leaves together using its beak as a needle. It uses a thread or wool for stitching. Penguin. A penguin lives in cold regions where trees do not grow, so they collect pebbles and stones to build nests on the frozen ground. Cuckoo. The cuckoo does not make a nest. It lays eggs in the nest of another bird. Woodpecker. A woodpecker uses its chisel-shaped beak to make a hole in a tree trunk. It takes several weeks to make its nest. Vulture. A vulture collects a few sticks and puts them together high up on a large tree. The nest looks like a cup. Flight of birds. Birds need feathers to fly. Two types of feathers cover the body of a bird: flight feathers and down feathers. Flight feathers are long and flat. They are found in the wings and tail of a bird. Down feathers are small and fluffy. They make a soft layer over a bird's body to keep it warm. Feet and claws. The claws of birds help them to catch food and to protect themselves from their enemies. Flesh-eating birds. The sharp claws of flesh-eating birds are called talons. They help to catch their prey. Example: vulture, owl. Perching birds. The feet of perching birds have 3 toes in the front and 1 toe at the back, which help them to hold on to the branch. Scratching birds. To take out seeds and insects buried in the soil, the scratching birds, like hens, scratch the ground with their sharp and hard claws with 3 toes in front and 1 at the back. Climbing birds. Woodpeckers and parakeet have 2 toes that point upwards and 2 toes that point downwards, which help them to climb up a tree. Wading birds. Water birds like cranes and herons are long-legged birds with spreading toes that help them to wade through muddy water. Swimming birds. Birds like duck and pelicans have short legs with 3 toes in the front and 1 at the back. The 3 front toes are joined by a thin skin. Such feet are called webbed feet. Types of beaks. Short, hard, horny beak. Short, hard and horny beaks help in cracking nuts and eating grains and seeds. Example: pigeon, sparrow, peacock. Curved beak. Parakeets have a strong curved beak for breaking hard nuts and scooping out fruits. Chisel-shaped beak. The strong and chisel-shaped beak helps the woodpecker to tap the bark of a tree to eat worms in it. Long, slender beak. A hoopoe has a long and slender beak to pull out insects from holes in the ground or in tree trunks. Broad, short beak. A swallow has a broad and short beak to catch tiny insects that fly in the air. Broad, flat beak. A duck has a broad, flat and spoon-like beak with tiny holes at the side. It feeds on insects, worms and water plants. Strong, sharp, hooked beak. Eagles, vultures and hawks that eat flesh of animals have strong, sharp and hooked beaks. Insects. There are many insects around us. Insects are small animals. Some insects move on land. Some insects, like the housefly and butterfly, have wings. Some insects, like the louse, have no wings at all. A spider has 8 legs. Water animals. There are some animals that live in water. They are water animals. Fish have fins, which help them to swim. As they live inside water, they do not have lungs like us. They breathe through gills. Amphibians. There are some animals that live partly in water and partly on land. They are called amphibians. Frogs live partly in water and partly on land. Frogs have 2 pairs of limbs to jump about. The pair of webbed feet at the back helps them to swim. Some water birds, like the duck, also have webbed feet for paddling in water. Food chain. The flow of energy from one organism to another in the form of food is called food chain. Summary. Animals need food to live. The flow of energy from one organism to another in the form of food is called food chain. The teeth of plant-eating animals are different from the teeth of flesh-eating animals. Some animals like the lizards and frogs do not have teeth. They just swallow their food whole. Butterflies and honeybees suck their food using long and hollow sucking tubes. An elephant uses its trunk to pick, eat and drink. We must take good care of domestic animals. Different birds have different eating habits. The shape and size of a bird's beak depends on the type of food it eats. Grain-eating birds have short and horny beaks. Flesh-eating birds have long and thin beaks to pick up insects. The claws of birds help them to catch food. The shape and size of a bird's claw depends on its feeding and living habits. Birds lay eggs in their nests. Here they are kept warm and are protected from enemies. Baby birds are looked after by their parents till they can fly and be on their own. Birds have flight feathers and down feathers. Flight feathers help birds to fly and down feathers keep them warm. Birds make 2 types of movements using their wings: upstroke and downstroke. On the downstroke, the wings of the bird move downward and forward. On the upstroke, the wings move upward and backward. A bird has a very light and boat-shaped body that helps it to fly. A cow has 4 legs and it walks on 4 legs. Many other animals like dogs, cats, and tigers, also walk on 4 legs. Some animals, like the horse and camel, do not have fingers. There are some animals that live partly in water and partly on land. They are called amphibians.